Hey guys, Bryan here from West Coast Gardens, and what I wanted to do is take you along a little walkabout I'm doing in tropicals. All I'm looking for is kind of plant health, plant care, pests, things like that. Nothing complex, but just a quick eye, things that jump out to me. Walking through our kind of succulents cactus area, just doing a quick scan for things. Cactus, you want to worry you're not overwatering them. That's a big thing, and also you can underwater them. So what I found here is a rickrack cactus. And what you can see here, typically it doesn't look too bad, but you can see all that wrinkles. That means it's too dry, so it actually needs water. But dryness isn't a bad thing, but if it's too dry, what actually happens, just a kind of a better example of too dry, you can't actually water it properly. So if you water this, the water is actually gonna act like a rock and just like bypass the soil and go right through the pot. So it's important that you water enough that the soil doesn't turn into like a hard compact soil. So sometimes it's just too far gone. It might even be better just to replace that layer of soil and just break it up and get some fresh soil in there. Easy fix though, I mean, give that a quick water, let it absorb, and then wait another few minutes and water it again, and then it'll probably help absorb the water. So that's an easy fix for that rickrack. With succulents, just a note, if your flower's spent, you want to trim them off. Not typically like that. You definitely want to go a bit down as close as you can. Just because you're never going to have any effect from that. So that's just kind of like going to sit there and kind of be annoying to look at. So I'm going to go a bit further down and just trim that off. Your plant's going to shoot up a new flower like this one did here. So you can see that's kind of the best way for it. Sometimes with succulents, you get some leaves that dry out, again, from underwatering. The plant looks kind of happy right now, but it's had issues in the past. So you can see, oh, look at that, nailed it. So there's some water in the bottom, so it's happy, but at some point it actually wasn't watered properly. So you can actually just kind of get in there and break off those leaves. There's no benefit to the plant to having those leaves in there. It's just actually causing more problems for it. So I would do that. Pop it in. Look at that. Now it's kind of nice, and then it's going to kind of fill in the spots over time. So this is a succulent. Yellowing is typically overwatering for succulents. As soon as I picked it up, I was like, wow, that is too heavy for this plant. And I'm going to assume, yes, it's actually, look at that. It's getting moldy from too much water. So that one, unfortunately, only you can do is let it dry out completely, break off the parts that are yellowed, and it will survive, but it's going to have a bit of deformity. That's just life. All right, so you got some hanging baskets here of the succulent family. Totally up to you. If you think it's getting out of control, you can cut it. You can cut it like a line haircut, or you can stagger cut it if you want. I'd probably recommend that, then you'll get more interest on the regrowth. So what that looks like, I'll find you an example here. So like how that one actually broke at one point, that's a new growth from it. So if you were to, let's say, just cut it below one of those places there, then you're going to get a new branch that'll come out. So you can do that to maintain it. You can put these, if you wanted to, and try to put them in the top if you have a bare top, and it might root in, and then you're going to help make that more compact. Not necessary, but it's something you can do. We got an awesome banana plant. I'm not going to touch that today, but looking at the alocasias, which are awesome plants, you'll see them in Mexico and places like that. Okay, so, all right, I got some obvious things here. So what's happened with this plant, for me, a quick identifier is that yellowing around the rim of the leaf, and then the black is just the rotting from that. So what's happened here, and it's common for these plants, is they like to drink a lot of water, but like all plants, they don't like correction. So what's happened here, I believe, is it's dried out, it's been drenched with water, dried out, drenched with water. It likes more consistency. So this leaf is never gonna actually get green, like healthy again. I'm gonna take it off because I don't want that just to be part of the plant. What I can tell is the plant's happy now. Again, is like the newest leaf here. Look at that, lush, green, it's got that shine to it. So it is happy. Unfortunately, some of these older leaves, like this one, and you can see it's on the outside of the plant. I don't know if you can tell that. But where that actually connects in means it's actually earlier on plant leaf, so it's old damage. Again, I'm just going to trim it off at the base. It's sad, but it's necessary. Your plant will thank you for it because then it's going to produce new leaves, and when it does, they're actually going to fill the spot that you trimmed it at. So you're helping shape the plant, as well as it not wasting energy on plants that aren't, or leaves that aren't good for it. All right, ficus. A lot of people have ficuses at home. They're beautiful plants, large leaves. So what jumps out to me is the discoloration. So you see how it's kind of yellowing? So it's a lack of nutrient. So that's why it's important to feed your plants. You can see again the new growth is actually nice and dark and lush. So that means it's happy now. It wasn't happy when this was happening. So probably before we got it because we feed our plants. So all-purpose is fine, high nitrogen's fine. You could get like a green up, which is like high nitrogen, the first number. You can't do too much to this, unfortunately. So the only thing you can, it's not gonna green up after, it's already happened. So you're either stuck to trim off that leaf, which you can, and I'll show you just because, so you have what it looks like right now. If I were to trim it just for aesthetically pleasingness, I could do that. So on this side, you can see I trimmed it. And what's cool about the ficuses, when you trim them, they have actually like a sap, which is kind of wild, like this white sap. Interesting. So at first it looks dramatic, but that new leaf, now that you've opened up the spot, it's going to grow bigger and actually take in that spot. Again, it's important to do that to make your plant the happiest and healthiest it can be, and it's not going to waste its time on leaves that aren't good for it. I'm just going to continue and take that other one off as well. At first, yes, it looks impactful, but again, that leaf will start to do this as that leaf comes over here, and your plant will be better at the end. You know, watering is a big culprit for a lot of people. So this is a beautiful bulbo-variegated philodendron. So you can do a couple things. So you can cheat. See how this one has a nice leaf overall? It's got that one corner that's got some damage. What you kind of want to do is, you know, stick with the curves of how that leaf is, and you might want to just cut it like that, and you're kind of creating a new leaf cut. So you could do that, and that way, you know, you don't notice it amongst your plants. Personally, if your plant's healthy and they got a lot of going on to it, you can also just cut off the whole leaf down at the base. And as an example, this one here, most of the white has had issues with watering. I'm just going to go in and take it off. Again, it may sound dramatic, but your plant's going to fill in that spot. You're not even going to notice it. And it's better to do that for your plant than to slowly keep on like an injured part of it. Pothos. Almost everyone has a pothos. There's nothing wrong with it growing like this. I mean, that's pretty awesome. You can throw them in water and root them and create multiple plants, give them for friends, birthday presents, you know, there you go. But for us, this isn't what we want, because we want people who buy our plants to have them in compact form, lots of lush growth. So what we tend to do, or what we actually do, is trim them back. So that's actually, you can see there, it's got a spot where it's going to grow out. So I'm going to actually just trim it like that. Okay, you can't even notice it, but you got this giant plant here. Each one of those nodes, so like kind of where the roots are trying to grow out from where the leaves are, is a spot where this could be a new plant. So essentially, I would trim that's where I put in the soil. So you kind of want to trim it above it, let's say like that. And you would put that into the soil like that, and then you're going to get a new growth from there. So you could put like 6 of those into a pot and have a new plant. Little tip for you. Pretty cool. Again, so all I would do for this plant is I would just look at where they are. You can actually see here, so see that's where it was snipped at one point. And then this whole is a new stalk that just grew out from it. That's awesome. So you kind of keep doing that eventually over time just to keep it maintained. Just going to trim it. It's getting too long there. I want to go up again to where a spot, oh god, so that's where we trimmed it before, and it's already got a new growth there. So you can do it, if you're not wanting to do it the same spot, you could totally go to a different node if you want to mix it up, or you could just trim it right back to where it was. Just for kicks and giggles, I'm going to do it at a different spot there. And again, your plant's going to appreciate it later on because it's going to have more density. It's going to be a happier plant. All right, another pothos here. So again, it's pretty happy, but look at that guy. That's not very happy, is it? Don't panic if this happens at home. you know, it's just take it off. It's a yellow leaf. Not necessarily anything's wrong with the plant overall. It's actually quite healthy. There's no other yellowing. I just don't like how long it is. So all I'm gonna do, and look, you can come in here. Look at that. That's a new leaf just wanting to pop out. So if I snip it, which I'm going to, oh my God, ah! What I've done to the plant is I've given it permission to pop out that growth, and what it's gonna do is not waste energy on growing out from the end there. It's gonna just push out that new leaf much faster. You may not be able to see from the camera, but I know spider plants very well. Very good friends of mine. So this spider plant here, I mean, it looks healthy. It's got new babies coming off it. But I just know that that hue, that color of what it is right now, it's kind of like a bluish green in my eyes at least. That's what it looks like. I can tell from a distance that it's underwatered. And I can tell also, if you were to come in here and look at that leaf, it's got kind of ripples in it. So it's actually dehydrated. So this plant needs water. It's not lush, and it doesn't have that shine to it like it normally would, and it's actually rock hard. So I was right. This plant needs some water. What's great about spider plants is that they will flush out. Once you water them, they're going to be so happy in like a day. So very resilient plants. Again, maintenance for these guys, depending on what you want. Like I have some at home that have babies coming off it. Others I've decided to not. So if you trim them off, you're not hurting the plants. Again, you're just maintaining it and keeping its shape. But some people like that look. All depends, but be mindful if you don't notice it, eventually it just actually gets very messy and you don't realize how messy it gets until it's like, whoa, that got out of control pretty quickly. I'm looking at these other elbows we got here. So elbow means they're white variegated. Some beautiful plants. These are Pothos elbows. We have quite a few in store. So I actually have one of these at home, and I learned from both ways, from here as well as at home, that they don't like too much water. I know it's a theme, but so if you water them too much, they actually start to yellow. And so it's important to like kind of, you can see like that one's kind of got some yellowing. It's not very healthy green looking. You don't want to water it too much and then let it dry out. So it's how do you find that right balance of watering it just enough where it's a happy plant and it's not one that is getting shocked all the time. Let me just find one as an example. Like these are too dry right now, so it's gonna be what I talked about before, like that soil isn't good. So you can see how that's yellowing. It's had issues with water at some point. I'm gonna trim that off. Same, see there's multiple. If there's more than one, you kind of have a trend, right? That one as well. Again, just get rid of the leaves. You got that one underneath there, not happy either. So I would do that, but I'd also look at this plant of being like, you know, how do you want it to grow? Do you want it just to keep growing long like this, or do you want it to have nicer, lusher growth? So I don't really like, and this is my opinion, that these leaves aren't very lush and green. They are kind of yellowed. So what I want to do is, well, actually, I really like that one. So I'm just going to be aggressive with this one, and I'm going to cut it near the top. And why I did that there is that that leaf is awesome. So what I'm trying to encourage is a growth to come out closest to that node, which might have some of that genetic DNA of that prop there, and it might push out a really cool new stalk. So yeah, it's kind of like when you're doing that with these types of plants, you're kind of dictating its future. And you're finding ways that you can maybe find good genetic parts to push them out, which is fun. We all love that. All right, so walking through ferns. I mean, ferns are a sensitive plant. They typically need a lot of moisture, so we water them a lot. If they dry out, they're not very, they don't bounce back very easily. These are actually nice and moist. You can see that's exactly what you want, which is great. Nice, perfect amount. So it's not like soaking wet, it's just got moisture. And you can tell too how that looks. Just so lush, no dryness in any of the tips. One last thing, more pothos obviously, but that's just growing too much. So again, what I would look for is a spot that I want to trim it at. I don't want to go too low for this one. I'm just going to trim it right there, That's kind of a spot. Same with that one. I'm gonna do that. I mean, you really don't notice it once you trim it. It feels like it's part of the plant, like it should have, but you just trimmed off these 2 really long stalks, which again, throw them in a tube of water and you get a new plant. Well, love that. I hope that helped. I know there's so much more I could do, but again, it's just general maintenance, house care, plant care, watering care. If you have any questions, feel free to post and we'd be happy to help you. See you soon.